Hello guys, welcome back for another build guide. I actually did a video about this build a few months ago, but it's unfinished, so I wanted to finish it. Maybe they won't destroy this build in the next season, who knows. So now it's pretty good on mapping, I would say S tier for mapping, and on bossing it's A, so it's not the fastest, but you can do this with only using Lightning Warp, and that was my goal, and it feels pretty good. So about the gear, we are at the end of the season, so everything is pretty expensive. Nobody plays this game anymore, like 5k people daily. You can't get a wand like this for like 50, 100 or more divine orbs, so if you want to build this from now without a lot of divines or without the gear, it's kinda hard. But if you have the gear, then try to aim a wand for kinda like this. You don't need the mana, of course, so we're missing a lot of damage here. But be careful with the plus level of lightning spells, because you don't need 5. If you have 5, the cost would be pretty high. We already at 400, we don't want more, so the 3 is more than enough. You need the crit chance, and the cast speed is a must. You need cast speed on your wand or on your focus if you don't have it on the wand and on both rings. You need high cast speed. When you are at 0.2, it's good. Next one is the helmet. Using the deepest tower, because we need the enemies in your presence count as being on low life. This gives you a lot of damage with the right passive nodes and support gems. For amulet we use the Choir of the Storm. This is pretty cheap, even with a good corruption. Nobody uses this amulet. On focus, try to have a lot of damage. These are also pretty expensive now, with spell and lightning damage and crit chance, crit damage, int, pretty expensive. On rings you need clock speed, as I said, life and resist. And I have a beach ring here with 68 life per enemy killed, which is pretty cool. On the body armor, I have Spirit, free resist, life, and I have an armor one because the energy shield ones are just out of touch with the prices, so I'm using this with free socket, and I have chaos resistance put into it. I have the headhunter, this is pretty important, and this is also not that cheap, like 10 divine. You need this on the mapping part. It's just full different experience when you have the headhunter on and when you not. For gloves we have the Atsiris meats. We need the leech from critical hits is instant, and I put 2 cast speed rune in it. And we're missing a few things, because we could have free charm slot in this belt, or I could have another resist on the boot, so we could have a beach ring here. Well, there is a few things missing because of the price, but this is enough if you have this. And on the second hand, just have a stuff with Sigil of Power level 19, doesn't matter which one. On the support gems, it's pretty simple actually. Let's start with Lightning Bolt. We have Blind, Inevitable Critical, Slip Away, and Lightning Exposure. On Sigil of Power we have Persistence, Life Remnants with the free support gems that you always use on Blood Mage. Lightning Warp, Execute because of the helmet. Inspiration, we need less cost. Arcane Tempo, Pinpoint Critical, and Magnified Effect. This is for mapping, this combo. And when you want to kill a boss, so I just put a blank skill here, I put a Lightning Warp here, and you can simply switch the Pinpoint Critical with Concentrated Effect and Blindside with Magnified Effect. It's pretty simple to just switch them before a boss fight. I don't want to use the inventory for this, this is easier. On custom critical we have Ball Lighting, lowest level one. Scatter Shot, Fluke, more energy and acceleration, and the same story, we have a blank custom critical here, and you just want to switch the energy and the acceleration when you do boss fights. Pretty simple. On Ball Lighting we have Wild Shards, Unleash, Gamble Shot, Ricochet, and Mobility. You use this when you don't have Lightning Bolt in the screen, so your custom critical didn't proctor the beginning of the map. Orb of Storms on bosses, have font of blood on it, a little bit of life, and the +1 limit. And Blink, we have Second Wind, and more cooldown. Let's see the passive 3. Blood Mage, of course. We need the 10% of spell damage digit as life. This is mandatory, of course. And we use Gore Spike, Sundered Flash for more damage and for 100% critical on Lightning Warp. After that, you really want a lot of strength, of course, because int does nothing, but the spells requires intelligence, so you need enough int to use the spells. But other than that, you need all the strength that you can have. Damage nodes. This is my whole tree. I need the spirit, because you need 160 for the whole combo. Using blood magic, of course. These are on the main hand, and a few skill effect duration on the second hand. More cast speed. Crit. Projectile speed. Cooked. I'm cooked. And the low life stuff for the helmets, it gives you a lot of damage. This is the tree, and the gems are we using an adorned setup. I have a 65%. This is out of control again with the prices. So if you want a 70 or 80, more than like multiple hundreds. So we have the other diamond with 65%, and I'm using critical damage bonus and area of effect bonus jewels. All of them are this. Of course, we have the Lightning Warp +3, and the Megalomaniac Diamond with Royal and Taste for Blood. More area effect, more life leech. So this is the skills tree setup. And these are my stats. 248 strength, 206 int. You don't need dex. You only need 1 dex for the few super gems, so I have 1 note here with dex. As it's almost capped, if you have full chaos and full fire, it's really hard to die, because you mostly die of the chaos damage. Especially on the ritual stuff, if you didn't pay attention, you can die on ground effects when you are teleporting. But other than that, it's pretty hard now with these kind of resistance to die. And our life is almost at 5k because of the life remnants. So it's pretty easy to farm, actually, if you have a little bit of game sense. Let's see mapping. So I don't want to talk about it too much because it's pretty simple. This is a fully stacked with Dissipated Emotions map, and you can go pretty fast on it. Until you hit a mob with your Lightning Warp, you are basically safe. The biggest problem is when you overdo it, and there's a situation where you don't have a lightning bolt on the screen and you just tapping your right click with Lightning Warp and you just drain your life. That's the biggest mistake that you will do. You need to learn a bit how to do the mapping, but it's pretty simple and fast, as you can see, and it actually feels pretty good, at least for me. So the number one thing, don't drain your life. Let's see, pinnacle encounters like Xesht. So in the beginning you wait for the map to grow, I have a video about this I uploaded 2 days ago. You just wait for 10 sec or 15 seconds, then go. You can go pretty fast if you do it right. Try to pay attention to your lighting balls, and the same thing here as on mapping. Don't click like hell. Try to aim with your clicks, because if you right click a bunch and you miss it, you will drain your own life. There are a few things here like the big fireball, you can teleport into it, that could hurt you. And the big tentacle ones that throwing those lot of projectiles. Little bit pay attention and there will be no problem, and it's pretty easy. And on Xesht, you put down your Orb of Storm and Sigil of Power and throw a lightning ball and start your lightning warp. Right click and you will proc your custom crits, and you just hold your right click actually. And I know it's not the fastest. We are missing a lot of damage, of course, on my gear. So it could be much faster, but that's why I said it's only A tier, because T4 Pinnacle bosses is not the fastest. I know I had multiple builds that you can one-shot Xesht and so on, but I wanted to use Lightning Warp without a lot of switching, and it's manageable, I think. And on Sim, it's actually pretty good on Simulacrum. This is only a tier 2 one, but I want to do it in a separate video, a full Sim 4 guide, because we need to change a few things on the build. I don't want to stack into this video, but it feels pretty good. All the teleporting and all the area damage. Of course you need to pay attention here again, especially there is something here that makes you silenced or you can't cast a few times. That's pretty annoying, but it's manageable. And I think you can farm Sim pretty fast with this. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe on my YouTube and like this video. And please go to my Kick and follow it. I will stream tomorrow, that's 100%. So check on it. Thank you guys. Bye bye.